So together here. Sue, hurry up, Sue.
First of all, please silence your cell phones so I don't forget today. My name is Marty Saltzman, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and I'd like to welcome you all to UUCSD. Today I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm going to start the way we start our board meetings by reading our mission statement. Our mission is to nurture spirituality, inspire growth, and learning in the search for truth, and challenge us to live our values conscientiously through service and example. All are welcome. You are welcome here. And that's on the front of our order of service. On the back are our 8 principles. Now, every week we like to welcome any visitors we have, or who've been here, say, first, second, third time, or members who haven't been here for quite a while and are back here in the fold. So if you'd like to stand and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, if you're willing and able. Anyone on this side?
My name is Eva. I'm from Raleigh, and I'm here with my aunt and uncle today.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Simon. I'm from Durham, and I'm here with Eva.
Anyone else over here? Going on. How about there's one.
My name is Dick Stinnett.
I assume this is welcome back. Okay, anyone else over here? How about on this side? Anyone over here?
I'm Lynn Phelan, and it's a welcome back.
Okay, welcome back. Anyone else?
Here. Hi, I'm Amy Tripp.
Welcome.
First time.
Okay, welcome.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm also new.
Okay, great. Welcome, Elizabeth. Anyone else? If you'd like to know more about us, there's a white card in the back of the pew that you can fill out, and we'll get in touch with you. Or if there aren't any, there's some out in the foyer. So please leave them either in the offering basket or out in the foyer. Also, our people on our membership committee are now wearing orange name badges, as Andy will demonstrate. So if you have any questions or want a little personal feedback, you can talk to one of them. The next thing I want to do is read our land statement. UUCSD acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and other indigenous people. The Cherokee, through stewardship, understanding, and conservation, survive and thrive in this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. Today's Potluck Sunday, so please stop and grab a bite to eat. There's always plenty of food, so we welcome everyone. And now, let the service begin.
Well, good morning. Good day. Potluck Sunday.
Hey, we're here.
I know that's the only reason you're coming. We're part of this chalice, give life and more to this community. When we are joyful and when we are in despair. And may we feel this warmth spread from our circle into wider circles and wider circles.
I don't think you're
until
on.
we let each and every one of us and humanity know that we are one
That's all right. It's all right if he doesn't know he's on.
in the circle. I'm always calm. Did you not hear me? When I was younger, I would say, fix me Jesus. Now it's fix me Marty.
Part of the story.
It may not be so.
Yeah, now you're on.
No, I'm going to speak up. And I'm going to come down to you so you can hear. Because otherwise. There you go. Oh, what happened? Now you hear me.
Yeah, that mic, you're on the other mic.
Okay, here we go. May the light of this chapel give light to the warmth of our community in joy and in despair. And may we feel this warmth spread from our circle to wider and wider circles until everyone we encounter realizes that they are one in the circle of life. How was that?
That's good.
We have such low-hanging fruit. I will now invite you to rise as you. Well, first of all, Jeanette was the minister of this church, so let's show him some love.
He's very shy, he won't stand up.
Anyway, thank you for being here. So I invite you now to stand up, those who can, and to join in singing our opening hymn this morning, number 12, O Life that maketh all things new. In the back of the gray hymnal by Philip Hewitt. We'll read this responsively. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness.
By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish chains, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves.
Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all.
We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us.
We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworm and the false.
We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy.
Let us labor in love for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice.
Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that is shown in the lives of the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way.
In this spirit we gather, and in this spirit we pray.
Hello, wild bird.
So did you see the bear? Beautiful. Even the animal kingdom comes to worship. Maybe we should be worshiping them. So, this is the time in the service when we invite you to come and share a joy, a concern, or sorrow. I'm thinking this mic works. And so the floor is yours.
My name is Joy, and I have something I'd like to introduce to all of you. Actually, Michael and I spoke about this. I had been doing mindfulness classes for about 10 years when I was in Connecticut. So I'm offering.
You gotta get closer to the mic.
Closer?
Yeah.
Go further away?
No.
Go home?
Turn it down.
Hello? So it says nothing, it's fine. Okay, so you spoke about mindfulness sessions and stuff. So, I've loved those classes. I've led these sessions over 10 years. It begins with a body scan, just being through and some connecting. And then there's breath enhancement. Then there's a theme. And then everyone is pairing up. We do some journaling. And my plan is Wednesdays, 6:30 to 8 p.m. And I'm nearby, like about 5 minutes from here. So if anyone has any interest about that, I would love you to ask a question or two, but not here. Somewhere in a corner. Is this it?
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, did you turn it off?
No, it's on.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Maggie O'Neill, and I want to let you know that my husband Al and I have just celebrated our 52nd wedding anniversary. Of course, we were children when we got married. But I want to also say that my husband Al has been the best possible husband in the world. He's the most wonderful man, and father and grandfather. So I want to light a candle of joy for my blessing of being married to this man for 52 years. Another candle of joy that Elizabeth Wallace and I just finished the flyer for Beyond Land Acknowledgement last night at midnight, and we posted them today. And so registration is now open, and the flyer's on the bulletin board. And if you want more information, we'll send it to you by email. Whew. I'm Sue, and many of you know that I live in the Earth Haven community We have 2 new members as of the last couple of weeks, 2 little babies, Tulsi Joy, a little girl, and Cade Henry, I believe, a little boy. So we're happy about that. And I do have one slight concern. We had this black snake, kind of medium-sized black snake that kept getting in our house every day, and I got used to every day catching it and putting it out for like a week and a half. Finally relocated it, and you know, I'm still kind of concerned about it. I just hope it has a good life.
Hi, I'm Evan, and late August, early September is a good time in our family. My son just turned 10. My wife is having a birthday at the end of the week, and then I'll be turning 40 next weekend.
I'm so glad to see the sense of humor is alive and well in this congregation. I appreciated the attention you gave me a little while ago. You're welcome. I'm a little jealous of the bear, however. I have come to light a candle in memory of my wife Elaine, who died August 3rd.
Oh.
She loved this this congregation. I remember so well how the congregation fell in love with her the first time I stood in the pulpit, because I told the story. I was considering becoming minister here. And it was a big decision for me. And it was a bigger decision for her because she had a strong dislike for the clergy. Just the thought of being married to one. You can imagine what it did to her. But we were hiking on the old railroad trail up here in Montreat. She was about 20 yards in front of me, which she usually was on the trail. And she yelled back, "You know, I'll go along with this decision of you becoming a minister under 3 conditions. Number 1, that you don't sit around reading and writing so much that you get so fat you can't keep up with me. Number 2, that you never preach a boring sermon. And number 3, that you never act like a minister." I miss her very much.
Hi, I'm Susan Culler, and I wanted to pass along the news that Mamie Hilliard, my partner of 17 years, fell on Thursday night and broke her hip. She had surgery Friday morning and has come through the surgery well. And of course, today is the 2nd day after the surgery, and she's dealing with a lot of stuff. The PT folks came in yesterday and got her sitting up on the bed, and beyond that, I don't know what's next. We will just follow whatever directions the doctor gives us, and I just need for you guys to send us healing thoughts.
I love to raise this mic, it makes me feel taller. If I can. I'll let a pro do it. Okay, my name's Eileen. Some of you know me because I've been here a lot for a while. So I have 2.
I have 2 concerns.
I don't know. Is this correct? Okay, perfect. For the first moment, I'll be perfect. Okay. I have 2 joys. The first one, the minor one in some ways, but maybe not, is Pierre, my dog, is currently housebroken. Okay, the second joy is I found a fixer-upper little house in Newport, Vermont, which I know some of you know is where I go away from here, sometimes 4, 7 months a year. But now that I have a house, I don't have to worry about finding a rental. My concern is that I won't see you as much, but you're all welcome to come up and see the leaves change in October. It's Newport, Vermont. It's about 3 to 8 miles, depending where you are in the town, from the Canadian border, where you can get real chocolate croissants and speak French. So thank you.
I'm Mary Stoyanova, and I have had some thoughts lately, and I'd like to share that with you. There are quite a few people in our congregation who have lost a partner within the last year or so. I lost my husband 21 years ago in October, and Dick Stinnett did the memorials for us. I'm thinking maybe it's time for us to have a grief group, so that the people who've lost their partners will have a group to come and share. It's always been a wonderful and helpful thing for me. So this is just a beginning thought. So if you will think about that, maybe mull it over, and maybe we will present that to the board. Thank you.
I'm James Sheeler. I have a candle of observation, I guess, in that falling and breaking your hip seems to be a popular thing these days. And our next door neighbor just did exactly that. So it's interesting to watch what she's having to go through and the rehab and all that. So it's a long journey. Then I'd like to light a candle of joy. That Carol and I are in the swing of things, and we've got our own black bear in West Asheville. He or she is living about, I don't know, 5 or 10 houses away from where Carol and I live, and it's just been a lot of fun to have a bear. A bear in the neighborhood. And here's old bear sitting there. But it's not him, no, it is a real four-legged bear. So I just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, you can.
My name's Alice. I shared last week about my cousin who was at Mission Hospital in ICU, and so my cousin Alex died on Saturday morning. It's been a painful many years for him and for our family, dealing with complications of addiction. My aunt and uncle, his parents, were present with him. My cousin Hannah, his sister, and my mom were all there. And I'm told it was very peaceful. I have immense gratitude that he's out of a place of suffering now, and believe that he can be free of that. I know that it will be a complicated time for the family, and can only hope that there is comfort in releasing all of the suffering. So while I was not in daily relationship with him, just feeling the impacts for my aunt and uncle, my cousins, and the rest of our family. Thank you.
I was introduced to Unitarian Universalists by my daughter, Asher Lee, who thought this would be an interesting congregation, actually in Asheville several years ago. And my friends Jeff and Sue invited me to this congregation, and I've since joined. I thought my daughter was going to be going to live with her partner in Minnesota months ago, but now her partner has decided to come here, and they're visiting this morning. We were here a few minutes late, but I want to take this moment to celebrate them being here and introduce Asher and Greg.
Hi. Well, this really works. Ground control domain. Okay, I'm John Schulte, and my wife Jill and I are new. We just joined. That's one bit of good news. The other bit of good news is that we just celebrated our 49th wedding anniversary. And my wife, my soulmate, I love her very much. She's a talented artist, and one of her biggest strengths is obvious. That is, she's very tolerant of being married to me for 49 years. Thank you all.
And I'm Andy, and I just want to light a very deeply felt candle of remembrance of my old friend Tony Kiss, who wrote many, many reviews and supported theater in the Asheville area for 25 or 30 years, and was as instrumental for those of you who like beer in making Asheville a beer place. Tony died about a week and a half ago very suddenly, and so candle of remembrance for him.
For those of you who did not come up, I'm so grateful because it was getting to be I wish we would do this when I only have a 10-minute sermon, which is never. But just know that for those of you who didn't come up, for whatever reason, that we keep you in our thoughts and in our prayers. Thank you. So we have another treat after this. This is a meditation that I thought would be really apropos for today's topic. It's by Brother Richard Gilbert. Well, at least the second part is. It's called To Savor the World or To Save It. And center yourselves as you see fit, and then we will afterwards have our usual time of silence. This part is by the writer E.B. White. It's hard to know when to respond to the seductiveness of the world and when to respond to its challenges. If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and the desire to enjoy it. This makes it hard to plan the day. I rise in the morning torn between desires to save the world or to savor it, to serve life or to enjoy it, to savor the sweet taste of my own joy or to share the bitter cup of my neighbor, to celebrate life with exuberant step or to struggle for the life of the heavy laden. What am I to do when guilt at my bounty clouds the sky of my vision, when the glow which lights every day illumines the world hurting around me. To savor the world or to save it, God of justice, if such there be, take from me the burden of my question. Let me let me praise my plenitude without limit. Let me cast from my eyes all troubled folk. No, you will not let me be. You will not stop my ears to the cries of the hurt and the hungry. You will not close my eyes to the sight of the afflicted. What is it that you say? To save, one must serve. To savor, one must save. The one will not stand without the other. Forgive me in my preoccupation with myself, in my concern for my own life. I've forgotten. Forgive me, God of justice. Forgive me and make me whole. And now, while our minds are one for this brief moment, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. So, as you've heard me say many times, as I quote my favorite philosopher, William James, the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it. And in that spirit, we will now collect this morning's offering. And hear a beautiful tune from the choir.
Take me back, O hills I love, lift me from this lonely bed, light my way with stars above.
So I want to tell you some bad jokes. Thank you. For those of you new, not every Sunday, but on occasion, I will tell very bad jokes. And hopefully you will laugh at them. And if not, then that's too bad for you. We have a sense of humor here. I want to ask you to show some love to Karen. Okay, so here's the first bad joke. A gentleman runs into, he's feeling really, really ill, and he's running, he's trying to get a doctor's appointment, and he runs into the doctor's office. And he asks the receptionist, listen, I cannot wait. I must see the doctor. But the thing is that he's invisible. And so, she doesn't know what to do, but she burst into the doctor's office. She said, there's an emergency. There's a guy out here that he's ill. He needs to come and see you, but he's invisible. And the doctor wants to see him, but he's overworked. And he said, look, just tell him I can't see him right now. I'm just passing on what was told to me.
Great joke.
What did the horse say when it fell down in the field? It says, I fall and help me, and I can't get up. I can't get you up. Very bad, huh? How about one more? But I have to remember it, which could take me a minute. Okay, yes. A dog and cat die and they go to heaven. And if you believe in heaven. And so the dog goes up to the throne of God, and God is there and asks a few questions. What did you do? Did you make something of your life? Did you make people happy? The dog says, yes. They loved me, and that I didn't poop all over the place, and I just did, I fetched, I obeyed them, and I made their lives happy. And God says, well, sure, come on, go on in, it's open to you. So the cat comes up, and God asks the cat these questions, did you behave, were you obedient, that type of thing. And the cat says, you're sitting in my chair. Blame her. I forgot who told me that other one, but it was good. I have some more. Oh, here's one. Boy, did my parents move around a lot when I was young, but luckily I found them. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so let us move on to compassion for the minister and the cries of the Lord. And I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you can tell, I'm a baby boomer, so I don't use my phone to do words and stuff like that, but I had to share these wise words with you. They are from James Baldwin, the prolific writer. He was brilliant, but I think it would have something to do with what we're talking about today. I don't know about you, but I get very frustrated at times, even though some up here I kind of come up and I'm very cool about it and giving these suggestions, but I just feel overwhelmed sometimes about what's going on in the world. And, and I try to come at it from a little Zen perspective, but sometimes that doesn't work. But these words are from James Baldwin. He says, if it hurts you, that is not what's important. Everybody's hurt. What is important, what corrals you, what bullwhips you, what drives you, torments you, is that you must find some way of using this to connect you with everyone else alive. This is all you have to do with it. You must understand that your pain is trivial, except insofar as you can use it to connect with other people's pain. And insofar as you can, and do that with your pain, you can be released from it, and then hopefully it works the other way around too. Insofar as I can tell you what it is to suffer, perhaps I can help you to suffer less. Then, you may say, 15 years later, several thousand drinks later, 2 or 3 divorces, God knows how many broken friendships, and an exile of one kind or another. Some kind of breakthrough, which is your first articulation of who you are. And that is to say, your first articulation of who you suspect we all are. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that powerful? And so I know a couple weeks ago, I got a little emotional about where we are, that we really may not be able to depend on some of our leaders to kind of lead us. And so all we can say is all we can trust is the warmth and the tenderness and the love that we get from each other. And I know some people are like, well, that's kind of a bummer. But that's all we have. I'm sorry I can't give you sweetness and light every Sunday. But this is life that we're talking about. And so we have each other. And it doesn't matter if you open your heart to my love. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I love. The rest is up to you. And so wherever we go and wherever we wake, we are challenged to hear the cries of the world personally. The cries are unending. They are overwhelming. And our noble charge is to hear them and to hold them, and believe it or not, to keep them alive, because that's how we keep the life force in all of us going. This is how we keep that eros energy going and keep it kindled between us. Black Elk was once quoted as saying that the reason to lament is that it helps us to realize that we are one with all things, and that oneness is inherent in each and every one of us. And so, it's never been easy. Grief is so challenging, as we've heard when some people came up here each and every Sunday, that it often blinds us to its importance. Its importance. The Sufi poet Mirza Gahidub says, held back, unvoiced grief bruises the heart. Try as we will, we can't eliminate or solve all the cries of the world, but they are the song of our existence. And sometimes we can get so wrapped up into our little lives that it can feel like we're going through things alone. But this has been going on since human beings have been on planet Earth. It's difficult work to be a human being. Well, it's difficult to be a good human being. When we try to mute or minimize the voices of suffering, we move away from that force that keeps us connected. But yet, on the other hand, if we get lost in those cries, we can drown in them. So it's always a razor's edge. So what do we do with them? What is healthy? What is a healthy way to relate to them? Whatever we go through or experience opens us up to what others have gone through. This is the basis for what we call compassion. Our own ounce of suffering is the thread we pull to feel the entire fabric, if you will. Having had back pain, I can empathize with the person hunched over in the line at Ingles when I'm doing my groceries. Having lost loved ones, I can feel the weight of the grief of the person who has to reckon with the death of a loved one. Having been a chaplain on an oncology unit, I can feel the agitation of the souls who can't stand the wait in the waiting room when they're trying to see the doctor. Pulling on the thread of the heart, the cries of the world open me up Open the heart. Now, each one of us, there's no formula for this, but each and every one of us must come to make our own peace with suffering, especially when the suffering seems unnecessary. I know Martin says that unnecessary suffering is redemptive. I would argue that with Martin, but Martin's not here. But the thing is, and when I say you make your peace with suffering, especially unnecessary suffering, I don't mean that we resolve ourselves to, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm not saying resolve ourselves to a violent world, but for you, the fully engaged heart is the antibody for the violence, the infection of violence. As our heart breaks with compassion, it strengthens itself and all of humanity. Can I prove this? No. Am I certain of it? Yes. Look around you. We're still here. You may say barely, but we are still here. We are more alive than dead, more vulnerable than callous, more kind than cruel, even though we carry all of this stuff with us. That we go numb along the way, compassion fatigue is a real thing, but as we go numb along the way, that is expected. These are the times when we need to be gentle with ourselves. Even the most courageous, the most energetic among us who give their lives to care for others go numb with fatigue when the heart can take no more. So we need time to digest. When you read stories in the Bible. I mean, Jesus had to get away from folk and get in a little boat and go over to Galilee. Buddha had to get, I got to get back. I have to dial this back a little bit. So we need to learn to know when it's time to fold. When to lay down our sword and our shield. All genuine spiritual paths encourage discernment in a time of rest and renewal. I don't know if I love the Godfather movies, and I don't know what was the third one, and Al Pacino, he's trying to allegedly, get out of the family business, but it just keeps pulling me. He says, every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in. And this is what the world does when we try and step away. Overloaded and overwhelmed, we start to pull back from the world. But we need to do that so we can process and internalize what the world is giving us. And even when all that is said and done, perhaps the most noble act, it's a private act, if you will, is when we leave the field and then we return to it. When we return to the field, to open our hearts again after they've been closed, to soften our minds once they've been hardened by the slings and arrows of our daily lives. Because you sometimes, I don't know about you, I can feel my heart constricting when I get afraid, when I get frustrated. I can feel a tightness there. Our compassion is there to revive us. When our hearts are open, we touch the oneness of things that we are all a part of. And so we let the cries of the world kind of rush over us. We just let it happen. And sometimes being alive is so much more difficult than we think. Sometimes we say it would be better to avoid all suffering, but we can't. We can't. You can run, but you can't hide any more than the mountains can avoid erosion. But there's something else a little more dangerous too. And the danger is when we run from the cries of the world, in extreme cases, our refusal to stay vulnerable can flip to the point when, strangely enough, we get sort of a pleasure from it. Boy, I'm glad that's not happening to me. The Germans, what's the word? Schadenfreude. It defines this state of mind. And so we derive this perverse pleasure from the denial of being human. And running from fear does what? It just makes us more afraid. It's like watching Roman gladiators battle to the death, and you know, you just get, I'm loving it. It's the spectacle. You know, the Christians and the lions, right? And the lions are undefeated. It's just a joke, it's okay. The danger is insidious and a clear and present one, because in our culture, we got 24-hour news cycles, and you can see crime from a kaleidoscope of ways, and all this injustice, this endless replaying of tragedy after tragedy, and countless perspectives and angles, and it pushes us over into the pleasure, like the Romans, the spectators got. So we become voyeurs after a while. We have to turn off the news. You have to. But you don't have to turn off your heart. We can still witness the cries of the world and those who suffer. And because to stay vulnerable is to what? It's to stay human. It's to stay human. Each time we suffer, each time each of us is broken just a little, who says it? The light comes through. That's just the basic thing. Thank you. Each time we love and are loved, each of us we dissolve a piece at a time. We break so we can take in life and the aliveness, and we dissolve so that we too can be taken in by life. This breaking and dissolving is the biology of what we call compassion, the way your muscles tear and mend each time we exercise to build strength, and the heart suffers and loves. Inevitably, the tears of heartbreak water the heart, and we grow, and we grow. Our fear of such breaking and dissolving keeps us from reaching out. We sometimes tell ourselves, that's none of my business. You know, good fences make good neighbors, which they do. But no one can sidestep being touched by life. And sooner or later, the fingers of the universe will prod you and poke you. And when we keep running, it makes the universe seem harsh. It makes it seem rough. But learning to swim, I think, in the sea of human lament makes the universe, God, the force, call it what you will, it makes it a teacher. Hearing the cries of the world causes us to grow, the way a flower will open up to the rain. And believe it or not, the simple act of caring is in our DNA. We are not Calvinists. We are Unitarian Universalists. We don't believe that you are born in sin. Since the beginning of time, human beings have complained when we get weary and afraid of the power of feeling. We say, don't we have a right to be happy? How much longer do I have to keep dealing with this mess? Can't we ever just look away? Must we always feel guilty for those who suffered beyond our control? No. No. Guilt is the enemy of kindness, of authentic kindness, of true kindness. It won't let us look away or let us give our heart to those who suffer because our lives may be changed. So no matter how much we fight it, life always has other plans. And we are faced, when we least expect it, to learning to live softly in a beautiful and broken world, a harsh world. On one level, the world is what it is. It's beautiful on one level. And, you know, we're pretty blessed people here. You weren't on the plane that crashed with the brother from Wagner. Major bummer. Putin knows nothing about that. And he's not alone. I mean, you know, we're human. It's crazy. But we got it good. Undergirding all of our goals and schemes is the sudden need that we have. That's why joys and sorrows, when we do it correctly, Well, because one may not be correct for someone else, but when we cut away the fat and spit out the bones, you know, people, that's why, and I'm going to do a whole sermon on this, and if I can get out of my head, it's about Kairos time and Chronos time. This is a time of reverence. That's why we stress that. And that's why this is the powerful UU ritual. We don't have a lot of UU rituals. Our UU Christian churches still do communion and stuff like that, but that's the ritual. But this is important for Unitarian Universalist congregations, and that's why it's so popular and joyful and painful at the same time. But the truth is that my suffering doesn't have to be out of view for you to be happy, right? People come up and talk about what's going on in their lives, and it touches us. And then you don't have to be quiet about your joy or about your grief for me to be peaceful. Do you see that? And that's what makes the time there sacred. And if you don't like sacred, we give a reverence to it. We take it seriously. So allowing our suffering and happiness to touch each other opens the depths of our compassion. Some days I can barely stand the feeling and fear that we will perish together as fools because we couldn't learn to live as brothers and sisters. I fear that. I think about that. Sometimes I have too much time on my hands. I fear civilization will end sooner than later if we cannot learn to honor each other's pain. But in spite of my fear and in spite of my frustration, my complaints and my resistance, I know in my heart that I have to keep it open. I have to stay on the love train, like the OJ said, because there's no other, the price is the price high, the tickets are high. But I could always go to the gravy train, but the gravy train means I got mine, you get yours, and all I'm thinking about is myself. So, love train, gravy train. Love, fear. I get to choose each minute of every day which of those gods I'm going to serve. And so do you. I must keep my heart open. We must collectively listen to our hearts and forego our obsession with avoiding pain, and to start sensing the one cry that allows us to flow into one another. And let me finish this prayer and we can go eat. I only started late because y'all kept coming. And you kept coming. And every time I want to get out, you keep pulling me back in. Let us pray for a moment. Spirit of life, open my light and show me light for my darkness. Open me courage, give me courage for my fear. Open unto me hope for my desire. Open unto me peace for my turmoil, joy for my sorrow, strength for my weakness. Open unto me wisdom for my confusion, forgiveness for my mistakes, and love for my hates. Spirit of life, open unto me yourself for myself. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be. And let us go and go forth and receive our good. Our last closing hymn today, 348, Guide My Feet. Stand as you are willing and able.
Guide my feet while I run this race.
give a hand and love to the music selections and the choir. Yeah. So, okay, here we go. Let's make it quick. And now may love hallow every home and every heart. May the light of truth shine bright among you and bless you with wisdom and strength and peace. Bon appetit.